Hi there, I'm Jason Ball and this is Life After News. Today we have a legend. Carlos Amezcua was there at the beginning of the KTLA 5 morning news, and he's actually very candid about why he left. He says that the story he's actually never told anyone before. It's pretty good. He's also been at the forefront of digital TV. He and his daughter Amy created a streaming app that's built into your TV already. You'll see what he's doing with that. It's called BEOND TV, and there's a funny story about how they came up with the name for that too. Carlos, thank you so much for joining us today. You are a legend in LA news, and you were there at the very beginning of the KTLA morning news. And not only did that show change morning TV or local TV, it changed morning TV network all the way around it, I think. So, and I've heard many different versions of this, and everybody takes ownership for what happened and why it was so successful. But let's hear your version of the story.
Well, I mean, I think that it was lightning in a bottle. I think all of the elements came together perfectly. Nick Van Hoogstraten had an idea of who he wanted and what he wanted at the very beginning. He was in charge of promotions at KTLA. Absolutely no one at the station wanted to take responsibility for launching a failed morning show. So Nick said, "Hey, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just working in the promo department. I'm not a producer. I'm not in news. I don't really have any skills in that area, but I think I can do this." So he took it upon himself to create this, and so he hired Barbara, he hired me, he hired Mark, and then eventually we brought Sam on board, and the ensemble was at the very beginning. We were focused on being serious news people. We all came from serious news backgrounds. Barbara came from a Blood and Guts TV channel in Miami. I came from a very well-respected TV station in Denver, and I was doing mornings there. And honestly, it was we didn't want to mess up, but none of us had long-term contracts. It was a short-term experiment. Let's see how it goes. Blah blah blah. So we're all a little bit nervous about that aspect, and no one was watching. I mean, Jason, it was scary. Every day we look at the numbers and I think it was the Andy Griffith show was on before we started doing this. They took the Andy Griffith show off and people were mad about it. So we were doing worse. We're doing worse numbers than Andy Griffith.
Oh, that's pretty scary. But I mean, it really is the first time a local TV station took on the network news at 7 to 9 a.m. So it was a big, but I think the advantage too you had is being in Los Angeles. That news was kind of 3 hours old anyway, because they were already reported. So I think it was a brilliant idea. And there was a turning point there where I've always heard the stories that we got nothing to lose, we're going to get canceled anyway, so we may as well just have some fun. Is that an accurate?
Well, what happened? It's interesting that we really enjoyed each other's company from the get-go. I think it was there was no pressure on the relationship building part of that. That we just kind of naturally fell together as friends. But we had a big event, the floods in Ventura. Really cemented us as a necessary part of LA TV. When that happened and we went wall-to-wall coverage with the floods, I think it was in '92, and so we started in July of '88, so this is or '98 or '91, and then in '92 and I think January or something, these floods hit, and we were the only TV station on with this story, this huge story affecting Ventura County, and people came in droves to watch us. And it was then that people realized that, there's an actual local TV station covering news in the morning. And from then on, we started building, and I think we cemented our spot in local television with the big stories. I mean, Jason, we had a run of stories. We had the earthquake, we had the OJ thing, we had, it just went on and on, the Malibu fires of that era. It just seems that we were always in the right place at the right time with great people, Eric and Michelle and Gail. It was just like nonstop. And so people got to know us really, really well. And we had no thought of competing against the Today Show, Good Morning America. But in short order, we absolutely blew them away, which was shocking to us.
I think you're right. You know, and KTLA still has that legacy of breaking news comes first. We, no matter what we're doing, and we may be having some fun or doing whatever, when breaking news happens, we switch and we go and do it better than anybody else. And I think that really is the legacy, that you can kind of do it all. I think, and you have to be able to do it all. You have to be able to do the fun things and the serious things, and really, when breaking news happens, just go with it.
Yeah, rise to the occasion, and I think we always rose to the occasion and tried to do as good a job. And you know, Barbara was terrific in breaking news. I love breaking news. I'd been a field reporter for my whole career up to LA. I'd worked at CBS News, and I had done hurricanes, and I had done some earthquake stuff in Mexico City. I mean, so I had some chops to help out with the breaking news situation. And it was really amazing to me how quickly we gelled. And we used to say that, you know, KTLA wasn't Disney, it wasn't ABC, it was our own little homespun TV station. And people felt like they belonged to our family and we belonged to them. And so they trusted us, they wanted us to do a good job, and they cheered for us, and they watched us by the millions. And I, you know, to this day, I'm still very grateful for the experience.
100%. Even though I came many years later, it was the highlight of my career working there and being part of that, and part of that legacy. I always said I was
part of the family.
I was the steward of it. I didn't create it, I didn't make it happen, but I just tried to help it and take care of it for the next generation.
Yeah.
But there's been much speculation of why you left in 2007 too. So tell me that story and how that all went down, and how you left and ended up at Fox 11.
I've never spoken of this publicly.
Really?
Jason, it shall not be spoken of. It shall not happen. I really, it was sad. It was really a sad experience, because I had been there for 17 years, and we'd seen the rise, and it was a successful entity, but I couldn't get the current station management at the time, the up to a certain point, whose name shall be nameless. I will not name him. But he, for some reason, wouldn't give me a contract. And I had been working for 3 years without a deal. And I said, I'm afraid. I have a family. I have to support my family. With a whim, he could end my career right here, and I wouldn't have any recourse. And then I'd have to go find a job elsewhere. And so I had a conversation with the then news director. And he was in disbelief. He didn't think that I really that I really would leave. And I said, I don't want to leave. I want to stay. And honestly, Jason, I've never told anybody the story. And he said, oh, come on, Carlos, you're never going to leave. This is home for you. You are KTLA. You couldn't possibly do that. And I said, well, I have to protect my family, and I'm very serious about it. But nothing happened. And so I gave it almost a month before I decided to cast a net out in Los Angeles and see if anyone would be interested in hiring me. And to my big surprise, I was offered several options, and I was very happy with that. And KTTV came along, and I think that's about the time that you came too. So I think you came a little bit just after I left to go to KTTV. And honestly, today I feel like that was the wrong move to do. I should have stuck it out. I should have hung in there and stayed at KTLA, and to do night news where it was much more buttoned up, much more serious, didn't suit my personality. My skill set was really the mornings. And even though we succeeded at KTTV, and Christine Devine and I were #1 the whole time I was there, we never lost a book. I was sad to leave KTLA. And, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your view of that, people on the street still stop me and say, I loved you on KTLA. They never mentioned the Fox part because I was such a part of the KTLA fabric. And even to this day, some people stop me and say, oh, I watch you every morning. I haven't been on the air there in almost 20 years. So that's a real story, Jason. I mean, it was really a sad affair. I left some really dear friends, as you know. Mark and Sam and I were very close, and Barbara, and we, every couple of months we'd still get together and have fun and talk. But I had a giant hole in my heart after leaving KTLA.
Yeah, I understand. And weird things happen for weird
Yeah,
reasons in our
who knows,
business, and
right?
it just really is unfortunate. Yes. So yeah, you left in September, and I came exactly 1 year later. I came in September of '08. I
Oh,
feel like the
okay.
TV station was at a weird place, kind of in that about the time you left too. So it was, I guess,
Yeah,
there
it
was
was
some
being sold,
restructuring and
and there were new managers and all of that, and you know, I was just really I was really just protecting my family more than
yeah,
anything
of
else.
course. And that's the number one goal. That's what everyone has to
Yeah,
do. You
yeah.
always have to do that too. And there was some speculation though that you might have taken over for Hal Fishman after he passed, and or I guess at the time he was planning to retire. Was that? Would you have done
Oh my
that, or would
gosh.
you have rather stayed in the morning?
Well, I wanted to stay in the morning, but I felt that if they wanted me to do the news at 10, I would have done the news at 10. But Jerry Rubin at the time, who was a producer of News at 10, didn't like my more casual approach to delivering news. I can't help myself. I am who I am. I try to be just who I am, and I can't pretend to be Hal Fishman. Hal Fishman was such a stalwart and such a serious newsman, and at the very beginning he would call us clowns. Oh, those clowns on the morning, I don't want to be associated with them, and I can't wait till they cancel that show. And he wasn't mean-spirited. He was just very, very determined to keep the aura of the anchorman, the aura of news departments, and the journalism with a capital J thing. That was where the mountain he stood on, right? And so when Hal got sick and they asked me to fill in, I filled in, and then he passed, and I was still there on the news at 10. And still, I got no contract. I got no offer. I got no sense of what was going to happen next. So all that confusion was really, really tough. It was really, really tough. I think Frank was brought in to do some News at 10 work, and then there was confusion about what Frank's role was going to be as it related to what I was doing, and we couldn't neither one of us could get a straight answer as to what was going to happen next. So yeah, all that confusion added to the problems, and then eventually this company sold, and I was already gone.
Well,
Tough,
you've had a great
tough
career.
stuff.
Yeah, you still had a good career afterwards, and you had a nice run at KTTV. But
Yeah.
then you left there to kind of. I feel like this is the point where you're trying to become more of an entrepreneurial person and kind of creating your own destiny. Is that a good understanding?
Yeah, well, I've always been very pro entrepreneur. I've always looked for things that are interesting, and I'd been blessed with a lot of different things, and I had invested in some things that I thought were interesting, especially with the internet, and that all happened on our watch in the '90s. The whole internet thing, and so I started to invest in some things, and I was very active with some of the Latino organizations in Los Angeles, and people kept saying, we want a seat at the table, we want to be heard, we want to be seen, we want to be proactive. Latinos are very important to Los Angeles, and I thought to myself, I don't want a seat at the table. I want to build my own table. I want to run the show, and I want to be able to do what I think needs to be done to make myself Walt Disney. I want to be that guy. I've not gotten there yet, but that led to a conversation with my daughter, who followed me into TV news. She had been an executive at Reels and at E, and also at Current TV. She was operating the live TV component of Current TV, and was very much involved in the executive part, like you were. And she said, "Dad, we actually should talk about what you want to do in the future, and I think we should build our own thing. And now the technology exists where we can." And so I jumped off a cliff into a paper cup, and started BEOND TV. And BEOND TV has been my baby for, it's been about 6 years now, and it's doing quite well. I mean, I have to take my hat off to my daughter, who is an excellent operator, and she's visionary. She's really doing some great things with BEOND TV, and we've managed to kind of put our stake in the ground, and we are building that table, and that table is getting larger and larger every day, and we have 10 million viewers worldwide on the platform. We have, I think, 20 channels now on there, and it's growing. And we hope to be able to make a difference to content creators who aren't necessarily heard or seen.
So explain for people who don't know what BEOND TV and how it works, and as a viewer experience too.
Yeah, it's a digital platform, and so what it does is just, I mean, we have an app, and there it is, and it's you know, it has all kinds of programming and stuff on it. Let me see if I can do this show and tell for Jason Ball. So anyway, so we have filled it with our friends and our people who do content creation. We also are now more of a distribution operation, so people who have great content or have great libraries can put their stuff on our platform, monetize it, make a living doing it. You know, there's a lot of talk about how billionaires are made off Instagram and YouTube and everything else, but it's a handful. In our platform, we open our arms to everyone and give them all a chance to thrive and to make some money. And it's starting to catch on slowly. I mean, it takes a little bit of effort, and I'll say there's a great deal of pain being an entrepreneur. But like building the morning news, it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree. So running a small business was very new to me after I left, and it is interesting because you have to do everything. You know,
yeah. Yes, you do.
You're the HR manager, you're the accountant. If you have a brick and mortar, you're sometimes the janitor, you know, and everything. So, or the handyman. We in a small hotel, and I'm like, well, I got to fix this today. You know, you got to fix that today.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. You're running a hotel in Palm Springs, right?
Yes. So it's been a good experience. But I love what you're doing. I love your motto or your kind of promise is to uplift, educate, and entertain. I always said inform, educate, and entertain, but I actually think you're right. I think it's actually uplift. I like that more. Can I steal that as my? Because that's kind of where I feel like the purpose of this show actually is to uplift journalists, to educate people about the work the journalists do and how they can evolve beyond just the traditional journalists, and to also you always have to entertain.
Yeah, I mean, so much of what we did and what I did in news was so difficult, so depressing, you know, things like school shootings and some of the horrific things that we covered. I think there's no question that most of us that went through all of that in the 90s and the early 2000s, the PTSD from all of the horrible things that we went through, that the next go around for me was going to be something that uplifted everyone instead of shocked. I understand the shock value and the need to report those things as a journalist. I get it. But as a table builder, that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go someplace where people would be happy, they would find good things, it would be uplifting, it would be inclusive, it would be wide-ranging, it would be global. I want people to speak Spanish or Chinese. One of our most popular channels is K-pop, you know, a Korean-speaking channel. I mean, you just have to go out there and see what people are doing to make people smile and make people feel good, and that's what BEOND TV is all about. So
there's different channels, and it's you can kind of go in whatever genre you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like Pluto, but we're a little bit more content creator centric. So we won't just go out and get a Gunsmoke, a TV show, and just run it. We won't do that. We want to be able to give people an opportunity to create their own TV series or a TV show or something that would be more non-traditional. We have Instagrammers who love doing their stuff on Instagram but want to extend that experience to something that looks more like television. It's amazing to me that people will have 3 or 4 million viewers on YouTube and still want to be on TV. You know, like what we do. That's what you and I do. We do TV, right? And so we always think, okay, well, you know, we're a growing TV entity, but it's digital. It's a little bit different, but it does look like television, and it does feel differently than YouTube. So that's really
true. I agree with that 100%. And I love too when like the new media is advertising on the old media too. I'm like, oh really? So there's no value in old media, but you're advertising on it.
Yeah. You know, and early in this whole process, one of the things that I tried to convince KTTV when I first went there was, you know, this internet thing is really starting to take off. Maybe our website. Maybe we should. And I would get in at 3 o'clock, and I would wait till 10 o'clock to do my first newscast. And I told Kevin Hale, who was the general manager, I said,
very nice man.
I'm happy to do a newscast every hour. I'll do a 3-minute newscast every hour. What's going on? What are we following? What's going on? Just on the internet. Let's just give it a shot and see what happens, and see if we can get our audience to follow us through the evening online and on their phone until the 10 o'clock newscast with a payoff.
That's
and
a good idea.
We'll never make any money on it. Forget it. It's not going to work. Blah blah blah. But that was me thinking ahead, and them thinking about they've got to conserve cash as opposed to spending more money to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, and then which leads me to you talk about broadening the table and opening, giving more people seats at the table. What do you think? Yeah. The legacy media is still overlooking than the gaps that you're trying to fill in on that.
Yeah. Well, legacy media, especially local TV, is not dead.
100%.
But I do have a prediction, and the prediction is this: and then I think that local TV stations, the strongest ones, will survive in the new era. I don't think we'll have people watching 3 or 4 TV stations. I think it'll be one TV station that'll dominate. I think that clearly KTLA is looking at that in this market. KBC is sort of looking at it, but they're locked into the Disney ABC programming grid. KTLA is the place. I mean, you're doing new. I mean, I'm talking like you're still there, but but KTLA is doing news every hour for almost 24 hours a day, which is exactly what should be done. And as I go, like for example, there's a station in Florida, Wink TV. Wink TV is like KTLA. They just do news all day long. And when they do hurricane coverage, they're on all day long. So I think in each market there will be a dominant TV station that will really survive.
I think you're right, and especially in LA. I mean, there's 7 English language stations and at least 4 Spanish language stations, and Korean and everything else too. So I don't know that all of those will survive forever. Yeah. Even doing news, because I mean, you got 7 TV stations covering the same breaking news. At some point, it doesn't make any sense.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Financially, I would think. But who's going to be the first one to drop, I guess, is the question.
Well, the market share is just not there for advertisers. They're looking now the advertising market is splintered between digital and broadcast, and radio's trying to find its way as well. So it's it's an exciting time. It's a fun time. I think that the other thing that's going to happen, and this because you were a news director, you understand the pain of having to pay somebody $1 million or $2 million to be an anchor, to sit there for 3 hours and then leave, and you've got to get your salespeople to cover that $3 million salary. That is a big ask.
Yeah, those.
I mean, I was a beneficiary of that. I mean, I understand the benefits of that. But I don't see, economically as a businessman, I don't see how that even works anymore.
I mean, yeah, you're right. That model definitely has to change, and it has changed to a certain extent too. But I don't know. And I think, were smart that when you left, you kind of stepped behind the scenes. And I know you're still doing stuff on camera with Beyond, but you're doing a lot behind the scenes as well. How has that been for you?
Well, it's a steep learning curve, especially as you start to age, and I still consider myself a fairly young man, even though I've got gray hair. I still, I still consider myself viable in every way. I love to do interviews, and I love to do longer form things like what we're doing. I do that on BEOND TV, and it's really very gratifying for me because it keeps my chops up. I'm still very curious. I'm still very happy to meet people and to interview. I would never, I think, at this point in my career, go chasing a story. I'm not going to go jump into the middle of the Malibu fires. I'm not going to go downtown and see, hey, what's a riot like? I'm not doing that stuff anymore. But I do enjoy appearing in thoughtful and fun projects that BEOND TV allows me to do. It's funny, I have to ask permission from my daughter that allows me to do things. But it's
That's
always,
funny.
yeah. I mean, but the thing is that I do get a chance to keep my foot in the business, even though I'm actively retired and still doing a lot of work. I think I'm the most busy retired guy on the planet here.
Well, that's good. That's good. So,
Yeah.
look at your opinion on, you've seen several people step away or been let go from networks, Jim Acosta, Joy Reid, Chris Wallace, and they've gone and they're creating their kind of own news thing. I feel like we're almost in a post-news or a post-traditional news phase, and I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think if they have a good brand, and I think that's part of it. If you have a big national brand, it's nice to have the last name Wallace, and Chris has done, I think, fairly well. I think for me, the political aspects of all of that have driven a lot of, look at what's his name, Terry, was it Terry
Terry
Moran?
Moran, yeah.
Got kicked out for something he did. He doesn't have a great brand. He's not that well known. He's well known enough. But if you're a big personality, let's take for example Katie Couric. Katie Couric did well after she left. She was doing stuff on Yahoo. She had her own podcast. She was doing TV shows and interviews and things like that. She can pick up and just continue on doing her thing. It's not that easy to get an audience. It's not that easy to market yourself. It's not that even though there's a lot of things available to you like Instagram and Facebook and places where you can make some publicity and draw an audience to yourself. It's really not that easy. Beyond TV, we market as much as we can, and it's sometimes it's an uphill battle to do that. So if you are thinking that you're going to leave television news because you think now that you've got some kind of a following and you can make it work, and you're suddenly going to be able to continue to live at the level that you've been living, you're mistaken. It's not going to be that. There's going to be a lot of pain there. You're going to look at your numbers and go, gosh, 65 people watched what I just did.
It's a lot of work too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, audience building is a tough thing, but
It is.
Regardless, I think it's a worthy thing to do, and if you're smart and you have a good angle, yeah, I think it can be very lucrative.
So what do you think, what kind of creators do you guys look for at Beyond TV? What are you looking to expand? Where do you see it going?
Well, I actually would like to begin to edge more into news content, but we're not really heading in that direction. We have a lot of travel content, which seems to draw a big audience. People love travel content, cooking content. There's a lot of music content. Celebrity content continues to be a big thing. And interestingly enough, before Sam passed away, which I'm so very sad about, I was going to invite Sam to join us and do some things for us in the Hollywood side. But we have Andrew Freund doing some things, and we have others who are terrifically talented in their space, doing things that our audience wants. Our biggest, besides the domestic audience in the U.S., our biggest audience is in the U.K., and we have a lot of followers in the U.K. who love Andrew, and Australia is the next one, and then Canada. And so those three English-speaking areas, Beyond TV is doing exceptionally well with the travel content and the Hollywood stuff. I would like to see more Latino content. We've been out trying to find, and we do have we're partners with Latin Nation, and we do a lot of things with them and their terrific programming. I'd like to be able to expand in that space. The comedy space would be fun for me. I think that would be great. And everyone knows that the place to make money online is sports, but sports rights are tough, really, really tough.
So in the Latino, are you looking at the Spanish language or English language or both?
We do some things in Spanish. I mean, I do interviews in Spanish and in English so that we cover both bases. We have actually been approached by some library holders of Spanish content, but Canela and others are doing much better at it than we are. Wix and some others who are very much focused on the Spanish side. So we'd like to take whatever they're not taking on the English Latino side, Hispanic side, content from Spain and content from Latin America, and melding it into its own bank of channels for BEOND TV, and then cross-promoting it. So the problem is that if you're just a TV station, you only have one stream of audience, right? When you have what we have lots of different ways of cross-promoting. And so these programs get a lot more visibility because of the cross-promotion.
That's a great idea. The travel, I have a question about that too. Is it like how you can plan a trip kind of budget-wise, or is it aspirational, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. It's a lot of it's just we have some kids that are just adventurous, you know, and they just do some great things and they travel around. But we have some more traditional travel things too, where, you know, how to take a cruise and what to see when you're in Italy, the usual like Rick Steves stuff. Mm-hmm. But I like the adventure. I like the travel kind of. Young people travel today and they do things that I would never dream of doing. So I like that. I like that kind of sense of adventure and you know, swimming with sharks and all that kind of stuff, which is mind-boggling.
So what's the key element for you to say yes to greenlight a show or take on a show?
Quality and thought. I think a thoughtful approach to what you're doing and being serious about the content that you're producing, rather than you know, slamming. You know, like there's no challenges. You know, we're not asking you to throw water balloons or riding a skateboard. We don't. That's not really us. But I do. I mean, I like to see. I would like to see short filmmakers and people who are really striving to make a mark in their lives and with their craft. We want to be able to give people a chance to be seen on a digital platform that has high standards, and those standards are, you know, high quality production value, great stories, you know, all of that kind of blending in together. We like to say that big media is designed to say no. We're designed to say yes.
That's good. I like that. What's the North Star for making, you know, for good storytelling?
Well, I think, the North Star for storytelling is that you learned something from what you just watched. You felt something that you just watched, that it moved you to do something positive, that it moved you to be a better person. I think those are qualities that move me when I go watch things, the things that I like to watch and the things that inspire me. I think that's, it's interesting because you can get everything you want almost with Netflix and Prime. I mean, there's just almost limitless, right? And yet some of the stuff is just crap. It's just terrible, it's garbage. And you know, people subscribe to them and, you know, they get what they want. But I'm sure if we looked at the analytics of these companies, 4 or 5 pieces of content are the ones that are driving the entire subscriber base, and everything else is just filler. I don't really want filler. I don't think any of us at BEOND TV want filler. We want stuff that's impactful in every sense of the word.
That's amazing. It's BEOND. How did you come up with the name?
So that's a really interesting story. You know, it makes sense that it's BEOND digital TV. That's kind of the thought. But the real story, Jason, now you know the rest of the story. In the 4th grade, my daughter was about to win the 6th grade spelling bee, or 4th grade spelling bee. It was a spelling bee. She was young. And the final word was beyond. And she spelled it BEOND, and she lost. And I were all sitting there, no. And so it's so
they probably
funny.
mispronounced it. They didn't say beyond, they said beyond.
So that is the honest story of that, and to me it's hilarious. And
that is hilarious.
She
Amy
agreed to let us use that. Yeah.
Yeah, Amy turned a bad situation into a good and a business.
Exactly.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So where do you see? I know you said you're mostly retired, but where do you see you and this business going?
Well, I'd like to see this continue to grow, and it will scale eventually to a point where we won't be able to manage it, and we'll probably end up with a major entertainment company or media company somewhere. We are growing to the point where I think that could come in the next 2 to 3 years. We're still shepherding it as a baby, and you know, I always say that everything takes twice as long as twice. So you think that, you know, we thought we could build this in a couple of years and move on, and honestly it's taken 6 years to get us to this place, and we're in a really good place. And we're about to launch a major product, which I can't really discuss, that's global, and we've made some deals with some big companies, and it's, I just sit there and think to myself, how did I get in the middle of this? How did this happen? And I think it's just hard work and determination, and a kind of a daily grind to get it done, and making sure that it's done properly. And I credit my crew at BEOND TV and the effort that they've made to make it happen. And it's amazing, we've done it with very few people, with a modest amount of capital, and you know, I'm excited about where it's going to be. And you know, not many people know what BEOND TV is, but I think within the next year or so, it will be a major player. That's
amazing. So I'm sure there are people listening thinking, I want to do that. I want to go be an entrepreneur in the TV space. What's the advice you would give? You know, it's funny. I used to do a lot of lecturing, especially when I was at KTLA, to the local schools about how to get into TV and what to look for and how to make your mark and how to be persistent, how to make phone calls, how to show up, how to be that guy, right? Or that woman that really makes it happen. But now, the advice that I have is, you know, you can build your own little empire with your phone. I mean, this device is magic. It's funny we still call it a phone.
Yeah, it's not a phone. It's a mini computer. It's a mini launch pad, because you can do anything with this thing. And you know, you can do what we're doing. You can film movies. You can film episodes. It really is only limited by your own creativity. I think people are afraid. Number one, don't be afraid. Number two, take a chance. Put it out there. See what happens. Don't be afraid to be embarrassed. Don't be afraid to look dumb or stupid, because we all get there eventually. We all make mistakes. But I think the future is very bright for content creators and empire builders, future empire builders. I mean, this one kid, his name is James, I think. He does a simple question. He walks up to very wealthy people and says, "How did you become rich?" Have you seen that guy? And they go, "Well, I started this company, blah, 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 blah." That's all he asks. And so, so what advice would you give? Well, work hard, blah, blah, blah. They always give this thing. He has like 2 billion followers, and he just does that. And he's probably generating about $1.5 million in income a year.
So that's how you become rich.
From just asking that question. Yeah. So, it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to do what we're doing at BEOND TV. And so I think it's, don't be afraid to start small and work up to it. And I think that's the real magic of the new media.
The last time I saw you was at Sam's Memorial at KTLA, and I asked someone else, so I'm going to ask you the same question. What were your first impressions of Sam?
He sat down. It's funny because he actually auditioned on the air. Because we had tried several other people, and they were just terrible. And he sat down, and immediately he started with scuttlebutt. Before we even started talking about, we were in commercial. He's telling us, "Did you hear that this one blah 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 blah?" He's like immediately whispering to us about things, and we're like, "Who is this guy? What's he talking about?" "There's this guy in the green room, and I'm telling." And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's going to be fun. So then we popped up, and he started, and we introduced him, and he started in on his thing, and I looked at Barbara, and I went, "This is the guy. This is him. He's going to do it. He's going to be the guy." And sure enough, from then on, it was just glorious to work with him, because he really brought Los Angeles to us.
Yeah.
Because none of us are from LA. We were all from other places.
So for people who don't know, Sam Rubin was a longtime entertainment reporter at KTLA and died a little over a year ago, and left a big hole at the TV station.
He embodied what the KTLA Morning News was all about, the kind of the frivolity, the fun. And you know, it's interesting, a lot of stations have tried to copy what we have done at KTLA. And I've spoken to news directors in other parts of the country, and they always ask me what the secret was. I said, the secret was that we were really serious about what we did. That the fun and the frivolity and all that stuff came after we got our jobs done. That you have to hire really good people that are solid in what they do. Sam was really, really entrenched in the Hollywood community. He knew everybody. He knew what he was talking about. He was an authority. He couldn't really, there's very little things that were going on in Hollywood that he didn't know about. And so all of us had our good news credentials, solid people, but we allowed ourselves to be open enough to show our personalities and show who we actually are, and talk on TV as if we were at home. And you know, Sam really helped us elevate that. And,
well, he told me that he was watching the show and it was dying, so he had to call. He made the call to say, "Come over and save the show."
Yeah, and he did.
And he did.
Thank you, Sam.
He's not wrong.
I know.
That was always the confounding thing for me. Is like, generally he was right. There were some things he wasn't always.
Yeah, it's got to
right
be frustrating.
Yes, but generally he was right. I'm like, oh.
He was right. Yes, I know. Hilarious.
But it was also a glue that holds that team together. I always said his biggest contribution to the morning news was, you know, you would do the A block and you'd go through all this awful news, and you just have to get through it. And then Sam would come in and liven the whole thing up and get the energy level up. And then he would go away and you would do some more, and he'd come back and bring the energy level up. So I never really even, I kind of wish I'd told him, because I never wanted to give him that much credit, but he definitely kept the energy level up of the show and kept it going and kept the team united and focused too.
Yeah, we would look forward to 20 and 40 after the hour. That was when he came on.
Right.
And we, you know, and on occasion he would stay on. We would say to him, just hang out for a minute, you know, don't go anywhere, just hang out. Because we wanted him to interact with Mark and play around with the things that, sometimes the things that come out of Mark's mouth are just hysterical. And we just always had a great time.
There was a moment too when I was the first at KTLA, because I had watched the morning news obviously, and I knew the morning news, but I was never part of the morning news team. And I was sitting in my desk one day, and I don't remember what was happening. Mark was doing something, and I remember I was like white knuckled grabbing the desk. I'm like, what are we doing? And then I'm like, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, yeah. Those moments live on forever, and you know, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Me too. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. I appreciate the candor and the thoughtfulness you brought to this conversation. I look forward to future conversations.
Yeah, yeah. Jason, it's good to be with you. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. I've known Carlos for a long time, but I really don't know him that well. And it was a great opportunity for me to get to know him a lot better and to figure out what he's doing and to see what he's been doing with BEOND TV. So it's built into your TV probably, so you should check it out. It's got some good content on it. I'll put the details in the show notes. Looking forward to see what happens with that next. On the next episode of Life After News, another LA morning news legend, Dorothy Lucy from Good Day LA. I asked her if the news director actually told her her voice makes his eyes bleed. You hear what she has to say about that. That was a fun conversation. And you'll also hear what her young son said to her to make her realize she needed to move on. That's next Tuesday. Of course, if you're enjoying the show, please give us 5-star ratings, leave us good reviews, subscribe if you haven't. We really appreciate it. We need all the support we can get on wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. Our YouTube page is at Life After News, or our website, lifeafternews.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. Jason Ball or at Life After News Pod. We have new episodes every Tuesday. If you love the show, tell a friend. Until next time.